2 GRIPT media reactions today, guys, to react to. The first one is how one tweet destroyed a full presidential campaign for somebody. I don't know who it is. It's a GRIPT article. But the first one we're going to react to is Irish minister, all children should be taught to engage in activism in school. I imagine so. Now, guys, in my personal opinion, kids should not be taught about activism in school. Absolutely not. Zero. Okay, until you're about 18, you shouldn't be involved in any of that stuff. All right, maybe 16 plus, but they're just trying to lower the age, to like 16 to vote and all this kind of crazy stuff. Guys, until you're a fully grown adult, man or woman, you shouldn't really be, voting or having any sort of consciousness with politics, guys, because you're not really reached that mature age yet, unfortunately. Okay, it's just not good, guys. You should be focused on stuff like school, education, teachings, good teachings, guys, not just bullshit, right? Actually good teachings, okay? This one is going to be about God knows what, guys. We're about to find out. Make sure to drop a comment down below. County Gaines coming back in, guys, from beautiful Ireland, of course. Back home from Canada. I was in Canada on holidays for a couple of weeks. For people, my girlfriend. So it's kind of fun with her, guys. You guys saw the videos from the past and stuff. But we're back home in Ireland, so hopefully we make waves this year. Maybe let's get it. 2024, our year, guys. Let's go.
So for Curriculum and Assessment has proposed a kind of a school module about sustainability and climate change that would involve seeing students taught about activism, studying the tactics of activists, civil disobedience, lobbying, things like that, and effectively teaching them how to be climate change activists. Is that the kind of thing? It's just in the proposal stage, but is that the kind of thing that you would hypothetically support?
That sounds insane. We're going to have a bunch of green protesters spray painting like artwork and stuff like that in Dublin. Even though there is no artwork, but they'll probably spray paint over Michael Collins or something, some craziness, right?
I think activism is something that all children should be taught how to engage in, to recognise. Look, we go back to, I was only reading last week a Life magazine about the activism of the 1960s, with Bob Dylan, the folk song era. This is not something new. This is something that's always been there. I think any sort of all-rounded education is good for students. As a former teacher myself, I've always said there...
Jesus. This is Catherine Martin. For those who don't know, she dodges questions like, like I don't even know what. You know what I mean? I don't even know what. She dodges questions like a pro, guys. It's ridiculous. So she barely answered the question there.
I've always said we need to move away from this absolute focus on getting the highest grade, the point race. We need an all-rounded individual and resilience building of a child. That's what it's paramount importance.
So finally, I found something that I agree with, guys. It's not a race to who has the best points in the leaving cert. The leaving cert's ridiculous. Most of the people that got high leaving certs will lead pathetic and just brokey lifestyles, guys. Let's be real, okay? The people that follow business and sell you something, you'll lead an amazing lifestyle. Straight up, guys. All right, everyone in Ireland knows that, right?
Specifically, would you say, as I say, it would be a good idea to teach school children how to engage in climate change and sustainability activism? Is that something that you would personally welcome and advocate for?
I haven't seen the details of what you're outlining there, Ben.
He literally just said it. He's really specific. Would you like to see activism for climate change protesters? It's not that difficult.
Don't know if you have. Do you have an actual curriculum detail here saying this is exactly how activism will be taught?
It's on the website.
Dude, GRIPT are too good. They literally have it. Draft Leaving Cert Climate Change Action and Sustainability Development Specification. That's so funny. He just put it up on screen. Bro, I freaking love Ben Scallon, bro. That he's a legend, bro.
Side of the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, as I say, they have a whole draft specification.
I'm not aware of that, but I see no harm in any way that engages a child who'll become a future adult and a voter in society and in engagement, done in a respectable way, done in a responsible way. I think responsible activism is what's needed as well. But I think protest and demonstration, as I said, it's not a new concept. We have folk song.
Bro, she didn't even answer the question. Horrendous. Okay, guys, we're on to the second and actually big video that I wanted to react to today. And I normally just pull these GRIPT videos together because I try to make them as long as possible because people like them, and I know a lot of people watching this love them as well. So how one tweet destroyed an Irish presidential campaign. I don't know what this is about at all, But we're going to find out, man. This one should be really, really cool. Ben Scallon reflects on the time RTE contributed to derailing an entire presidential campaign with actual misinformation. Wow. Yeah, RTE, guys, I've said it loads of times in the past. Never watch RTE. Never listen to RTE. Never listen to anything they say. They're the most corrupt, people in the whole of flipping Ireland, if not the whole world, guys. They're the worst news station in the world, in my personal opinion, and nobody should watch them. Good endorsement there. Let's get it.
If you've ever listened to modern Western politicians, you'll no doubt have heard them discuss the need for what they call public service broadcasting, which has always struck me as one of the funnier euphemisms that our leaders have to offer. Politicians are very quick to remind us that without state-funded media, our democracy itself would be in mortal peril because the public wouldn't have access to reliable news and elections could be swung by bogus information. And this is effectively what Ireland's media minister Catherine Martin told me at a press conference recently. She said that state broadcasters like Ireland's RTE are vital and necessary because they provide such excellent factual information. And
they don't, guys. I get far more views than they do. GRIPT gets far more views than they do. They're getting more subscribers than they do. We are the mainstream news. County Gains News Media is the mainstream news. RTE is like outliers. They're like people that are playing catch up. They're like on the fringe, of society. We are the mainstream news. Let's go.
That this should not be questioned.
Minister, you said that having a state broadcaster like RTE strengthens democracy. Could you explain how RTE strengthens democracy exactly?
I think it divides society, actually.
Public service broadcasting and reliable information is what is needed, and we saw an example of that all through COVID, that they provided excellent factual information.
She says that word on purpose so you can't upload it to YouTube as well. I know what she's doing. I know the games she's running.
And in these times, and very uncertain times, we've never needed more so than today than reliable broadcasting, public service broadcasting and reporting. And that has not changed.
So media,
that has not changed.
So media receiving...
RTE is just funded by billionaires, and it's just funded by the highest bidder. They're just told what to report on. They obviously have an agenda. You know what I mean? Like, guys, everyone knows this. Left people in Ireland that I talk to, right people, like, everyone knows that, though.
State funding makes them more likely to be accurate. Is that the
I'm saying public...
Ben Scott asking the good questions. Like, state funding, is worse, guys. It's basically just a government mouthpiece.
Public service broadcasting does a good for...
Public service broadcasting. You see, guys, they use words. It's called a psyop. If you guys, the Irish public I'm talking to, don't know. A psyop is they use words to manipulate you. A public broadcasting... beautiful, for the people, public endorsement. Like, it's not that at all, guys. It's run by billionaires that trickle down money to the people that pay them the most, and that will spin their narrative. Straight up. I love you guys. That's why I'm saying this. I love all the beautiful people of Ireland. That's why I'm telling you this beautiful information.
For democracy and for society, and that should not be questioned in this debacle. And we should never...
Let's not question the news, is it? That's a good thing to do. Let's not question anything, guys. Just shh. Don't worry. We're the government and we're here to help.
Question how the staff...
It should not be questioned, because if there's one thing that sums up democracy, it's having a massive government-run media entity which you are forced to pay for by law on pain of imprisonment, and which you are actively discouraged from questioning by those in positions of power.
I don't own anything. I don't own a house. I don't own anything. I don't have to pay that. I don't pay that. People in my family might pay that, but I don't pay that. I don't know, guys. You guys own houses, and everyone wants to own all this stuff. I want to own all this stuff, guys. Why are you owning so much stuff? Because then, of course, I'm going to have to own some eventually, but there's ways around that, guys, let's just say. And, okay, you have to pay your TV license because obviously, but, I don't even think they have TV license in America or Canada. Aren't they the harbors of freedom that we always look to? Why do we have to pay that? A lot of things in Ireland, a lot of taxes that we have that a lot of other countries don't have.
Now, of course, it's absolutely true that false information can be very damaging to the democratic process.
Yeah.
For example, politicians assuring voters right before an election that they won't form a government with the rival party, and then immediately reneging on that promise once the election is over.
You know what?
Ben is roasting. Ben is on war mode today. Ben is on war mode today.
You went to government with Fianna Fáil. That doesn't make sense to the public. That's the type of Jekyll and Hyde behaviour. It's just, I don't think has credibility. We will not be entering into a grand coalition. The people want change. It's very clear the message we're receiving. People want change in this country. They want Fine Gael out of office.
The Fianna Fáil leader, Micheál Martin, has become the country's 15th Taoiseach, leading a coalition with Fine Gael and the Green Party into government.
I'm done, bro. I'm done. I can't even with this flipping thing anymore, bro. Just drop the mic. Bro, this is ridiculous. Lead a coalition. I promise we won't lead a coalition. Boom. The same day. Oh, we're leading a coalition. It's funny because I don't know, like the Irish public and stuff. I'm pretty much talking to Irish people when I make these videos, Irish and American, but a lot of Irish people aren't familiar with the term bait and switch. You know, you kind of bait someone, you say, okay, this is how it's gonna be, this is one thing, and then as soon as you get it, or as soon as you make the deal, like let's say you're a coach or something, as soon as you make the deal, you just immediately stop coaching them, or you lie to them to try and get them to do something that you want them to do, and then you switch up, guys. A lot of jobs do this. I had a lot of jobs that told me one thing, and then when I actually got hired, it was the complete opposite. So that's what a bait and switch is. It's horrendous, guys.
That sort of thing is a real problem and absolutely has a corrosive effect on public trust.
That's horrendous.
But the question here is not, is false information around elections a problem? Because it obviously is. The real question is, are state-funded media outlets automatically more trustworthy than private news outlets?
I would say no. Twitter gives me great information. Twitter, or X, previously known as Twitter, gives me great information. I love Twitter. I normally just shit post, but I actually like to post my videos and talk a lot about different, subjects and stuff like that. So if any of you want to, you can go over to my Instagram, check out my Instagram for proper fitness tips, or if you guys want information on, different topics and stuff like that, go to my Twitter. I put up a lot of different, information, motivation. I have on motivation on my YouTube channel as well. But Twitter is great, guys, for information. Great for news.
For example, is a journalist who receives money from the government more likely to publish the truth than if he hadn't been paid by the government? That's a conversation which politicians evidently don't want to have.
Dude, Ben is just on roast mode today. We're only 3 minutes in, guys. 3 minutes in, bro. Come on, roast mode today.
I do want to have that conversation. And so to answer that question, we're going to take a trip down memory lane and revisit the time when Ireland's state broadcaster, RTE, derailed a leading presidential candidate's campaign mere days before an election by broadcasting the contents of an unverified tweet. Our story begins in 2011 in the midst of that year's Irish presidential election.
Damn, Ben is getting us with some throwbacks. This video must have 100,000 views. 16,000 views. Oh, come on. GRIPT are putting in work, guys.
The campaign had been an intense battle with 7 candidates going head to head to see who would take the highest political office in the land. And with less than a week to go until voting day, the frontrunner by a mile was none other than businessman Sean Gallagher. Gallagher was a well-known entrepreneur with an upbeat, optimistic style who was best known to the public for featuring on the business-themed reality TV show Dragon's Den.
Oh, that's class. Yeah, I used to watch Dragon's Den as a kid a lot, guys. I love it. So yeah, I do remember, oh my god, I remember this so clearly. I was working at the Galway races, and they completely derailed him. I was working security, guys. I worked security for like 10 years at the races, but they completely derailed him. I actually remember, this is crazy.
He was confident, he was popular, and with the election just days away, his victory seemed inevitable. Gallagher was polling at 40% compared to his nearest rival Michael D. Higgins, who was trailing all the way back at 26%. All of his competitors were inhaling Gallagher's exhaust fumes at the rearview mirror, and the election had all the appearances of a done deal.
Yep.
And it's often at moments like this, when everything is going perfectly, that life decides to drop kick you face first into the nearest slurry pit, which is, unfortunately for Gallagher, exactly what happened. On RTE, in the final TV debate of the campaign, Sinn Féin candidate Martin McGuinness incorrectly accused Gallagher of accepting a €5,000 fundraising cheque at a Fianna Fáil political party event years prior, which was an incorrect version of events. And Gallagher said as much, flatly denying the claim and batting away this attack from McGuinness.
He also told me that after the event, that Sean called around to his house and took a cheque for €5,000. No, Sean didn't even address that in the course.
I was just
in the course of
finishing.
his comedy. Well, he says it's not true. You took away a cheque for €5,000.
That is not correct.
That is not correct?
Absolutely not
All
correct.
right.
Of course, the reason this false claim was so...
This is terrible, guys, because, you know, you can just say stuff now and people believe you. It's like trial by social media, you know. You have to actually have receipts, have evidence, and if I don't see evidence from anyone, that people say shit to me in real life, I'm like, I don't care. Like, just stop talking to me because I want to see receipts, guys.
All right.
Of course, the reason this false claim was so controversial at the time was 2011 was in the midst of the Mahon Tribunal, which was the longest running and most expensive public inquiry in Irish history. The purpose of this tribunal was to investigate allegations of corrupt payments being made to Irish politicians at the highest level of government, and the claims were so serious that it was ending major political careers. So as the Irish public were hearing about all of these scandals around politicians and their finances, here was Gallagher being incorrectly accused of taking a €5,000 fundraising cheque for Fianna Fáil. It's not hard to see why that will be fairly damaging in an election campaign.
That's terrible.
So a false claim was made. Gallagher said it wasn't true, and for the better part of an hour, the subject was dropped and the candidates moved on to other topics. However, later in the debate, after an ad break, the moderator revisited the subject, outlining the contents of a tweet which had been sent from the McGuinness for Prez Twitter account, saying that the man who Gallagher allegedly took the €5,000 cheque from would be speaking at a press conference the following day. The tweet was not as it seemed, however. It was in fact from a random anonymous account that actually had nothing to do with the McGuinness campaign. But RTE apparently mistakenly assumed that it was an official campaign account because it had a McGuinness for Prez in the username.
Oh my god, bro.
So very suddenly, Gallagher was on live television confronted with an unsubstantiated claim from an anonymous Twitter account as if it was coming from a rival politician, and in the moment he stumbled and he fumbled and his answers did not come across as particularly convincing.
And McGuinness for President
Oh, this is going to be a train wreck.
Twitter account. Sinn Féin are saying they're going to produce the man who gave you the cheque for $5,000. Now, do you want to change what you said, or are you still saying that it just simply didn't happen? Are they up to dirty tricks, or what?
Well, you know, I've always tried to stay above any negative campaigning, and...
did you get a cheque from this guy or not?
Well, I have no recollection of getting a cheque from this guy. I can tell you...
Gallagher would
That's pretty terrible answer. That was bad. I'm like, absolutely not. This is complete bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely not. When I see evidence, then we'll talk about it. Complete nonsense. Move on to the next subject, you know? Stuff like that, guys. You have to be confident, strong. Bro, listen. Shit, one day I might run for president. I tell everybody I might run for, you know, whatever politicians in Ireland, in Galway, you know, Galway West or whatever, Galway, yeah. But I might run for president someday. Could you imagine? Come on, guys, that would be insane.
Later say that he was thrown by the tweet and began to momentarily doubt his own memory because he was suddenly under this intense spotlight on live television and a very confident and serious allegation was being made against him.
I felt the programme was unfair. A false tweet, a fake Twitter account caused me to momentarily, you know, doubt my own memory. And I think people who were at home watching that, and many people who have said to me since, had considered voting for me up to that point, but thought that I looked unconvincing in my answer. And you have to put yourself live on television, last debate, false tweet. I had stated that that accusation had been false many times, and the debate had moved on. It had been dealt with the week previous by a newspaper, felt to be, you know, unfounded. But on live on air, you know, you get thrown. Unfortunately, that happened. People switched.
To make matters even worse, RTE, by their own admission, learned later during the programme that the tweet was in fact from a fake account, and yet they didn't immediately move to correct their mistake and initially denied any wrongdoing. They also allowed Gallagher to be grilled with multiple hard questions, while his nearest rival, Michael D. Higgins, received no probing questions during the Q&A section. By that point, of course, the damage was done, and 3 days later, on the day of the election, Gallagher ended up losing to challenger Michael D. Higgins, despite previously having what most commentators believed to be an unassailable lead. A final RTE poll showed that 28% of Irish voters changed their mind in the last week of the campaign, with 58% of those switching from Gallagher.
58% is huge, like.
The Broadcasting Authority of Ireland ultimately upheld Gallagher's complaint against RTE about unfair treatment.
I would actually sue RTE for putting that information out there. If there's some way you could sue, I know we don't really sue people that much in Ireland, but if there's some way you could sue them for that, I would definitely do that, guys.
And he took the broadcaster to court. But it took 5.5 years before RTE ultimately agreed to settle for 130 grand and issue
130 grand? That's nothing. The guy could have become president. That's like legacy.
an apology which read, RTE acknowledges it made mistakes and failed to comply with its statutory duty. RTE acknowledges it should have verified the origin of a tweet to which reference was made during the broadcast, and that the tweet should not have been erroneously attributed to another candidate's Twitter account.
Again, this is another psyop. The way they say RTE. See, guys, I'm very philosophically and psychologically great with a lot of these videos. That's why people like to watch my videos, because that's why I'm getting a lot of publicity for this stuff. When they say RTE, they're not saying one individual. Okay, one individual did this. They took the tweet. Okay, they knew it was fake, or they didn't know. They probably did know it was fake. Let's be real, guys. And they just put it out there to the world, and they started going like crazy. And then they asked the question. They started giving them under this crazy pressure, and he probably got confused between a few different things. RT should fire that one person that did this tweet, guys, but nobody got fired. He probably got a promotion. Let's be real. Okay, a lot of people, when bad things don't happen, guys, they just cover it up. They promote everybody. They don't fire people, because if you fire people, you acknowledge that you did wrong. You see, who got fired for this, guys? Did anyone take a blame for this? No. RT made a mistake. No, somebody in charge of RT made a mistake. He should be fired for misinformation.
RTE acknowledges that it should not have broadcast the tweet, and when it became apparent during the course of the programme that it was false, it should have immediately corrected the fact that the provenance of the tweet was mistaken. As a result, RTE failed in its obligations to Mr. Gallagher. And of course, all of that is true, but RTE didn't just fail in their duty to Gallagher, they failed in their duty to the voting public at large, despite their status as the so-called public service broadcaster. And when RTE makes these kinds of mistakes and then has to go and make a six-figure settlement, it's the public's money that ends up being used to pay for it. So what is their incentive exactly to avoid such outcomes? They know that the government will just bail them out if things get too intense, as is happening now amid other scandals. You know,
56 million euro bailout. Like, lads, come on, man. This is... If you're in debt, let me just say something, lads. If you're in debt, any business that you own, 56 million, you suck at your job. Unless, like, you're going to make money back from the thing. But 56 million is just, an outrageous amount.
Every publication makes errors from time to time, including GRIPT. Journalists are people, and people make mistakes.
Not me, though, guys. All right, County Gains News Media. These big biceps, man, they make it so that I'll never mess up anything ever. I'm always telling the truth 24/7, guys.
Doesn't discredit someone's entire body of work just because they slip up on a story occasionally. But as far as mistakes go, tanking the campaign of a presidential frontrunner 3 days before a national election with an unverified tweet is certainly a doozy. And it goes to show that the argument that we need a state-funded broadcaster in order to defend democracy and prevent misinformation is laughable. There was only one media outlet involved in this whole fiasco, and it wasn't a private publication. It wasn't a random conspiracy theorist on Telegram. It wasn't the so-called far right. It was the favourite broadcaster of Irish politicians the world over. And it's not
This is probably the best video ever. Oh, Niall Boylan here. Great. We love Niall Boylan over here. I've said it loads of my videos. I've said this years ago. We love Niall Boylan. This is an insane video. This is probably the best script video they've ever made ever.
Right. It was the favourite broadcaster of Irish politicians the world over. And it's not like all of this stuff is in the ancient past either. We see how candidates like Niall Boylan were denied access to the recent European election debates, despite the fact that he was popular enough to very nearly win a seat. And
Dude, people that are popular, Niall Boylan, these people should be absolutely being allowed to debate them. It's ridiculous how they're not allowed to. Niall Boylan's one of the biggest figures in the whole of Ireland, if not the biggest, most popular person in the whole of Ireland. One of the most. Okay, biggest radio show ever. So how are these people not allowed to debate? This is ridiculous, guys. Of course they should be allowed to debate.
Meanwhile, candidates that did significantly worse, like Saoirse McHugh, were allowed to participate. who knows what impact that sort of carry-on had on the final outcome. State media is far from immune to dodgy news, and to act like more government money going into media publications is automatically the solution for misinformation is naive at best.
Yep.
If you want exclusive access to hard-hitting reports and articles like these, become a GRIPT member today.
Alright guys, go subscribe to their YouTube, go check out their GRIPT, go donate to them, they're unbelievable. And GRIPT are actually doing really, really good stuff. Like, obviously I don't talk about certain things, I react to loads of news talk as well, I react to loads of different things, but I love GRIPT for these different ones, talking about misinformation and like hate speech and stuff like that. I love these type of videos, they're really good. So let me know your thoughts. I love you all. Peace with you all. Stay safe, Ireland. I'll see you all in the next one, guys. Peace.